It's okay then. So unfortunately, Ibu Elizabeth is not arrived yet in this virtual meeting. So I would like to welcome to the second speaker is Pak Novansyah. So Pak Novansyah, I would like to welcome you to the first as the first speaker for this session. The 10 minutes is yours, Pak. Silakan Pak Novan.
Slideshow.
Yeah, slideshow is on, Pak. You can start now.
Kesini lagi. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Herianto, as for giving me a chance. And good afternoon, dear all participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
First of all, I would like to thank the Ponorogo University for giving me a chance to present my paper. My name is Novansyah from Faculty of Humanities, Ponorogo University. Without any further delay, I'd like to start the presentation on my paper entitled Analysis of the Concept and Attraction and the Development of the Langan Mandrawanara Art from Yogyakarta. One of the cities in Indonesia that has a variety of interesting cultures and arts is the city of Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta city is the capital of Yogyakarta province and is the only level 2 region with city status in addition to 4 other level 2 regions with regency status. In the city of Yogyakarta, there are traditional dances that are still regularly performed at various events or places. An introduction. Mandrawanara is a Japanese drama created in the 1980s by Kanjeng Pangeran Haryo Yudhonpuro. 3. The background. Sorry, the text is not. Sorry. Can I? Okay. Mandrawanara is a Japanese dance drama created in the 1990s by Kanjeng Pangeran Haryo Yudhonpuro III. The background story in dance drama is the Ramayana story that takes place in the Kapatihan complex. The way to dance is with the dancer sitting on his feet, or it is called joget jengking movement, sitting on the leg. While when dancing, there is a dialogue called macap. And the theory research studies about the initial concept of culture which originated from the study of primitive societies contain a practical side as a source of power intended to influence series of modern ideas and actions. And method study uses descriptive analysis method with primary and secondary data. Furthermore, doing analysis and literature study of Mandrawanara art. This type of research can be used for research related to social life, story, behavior, and others. The data use primary data by conducting interviews with artists and institutions that oversee the arts of Mandrawanara. Researchers also use secondary data from various sources, such as book documentation, previous research, journals, and internet sites. Furthermore, doing analysis and literature study of Mandrawanara of sorry. Furthermore, doing analysis and literature study of Mandrawanara art. And then next, this is the meaning. Langan is entertainment or fun, and then mantra is the main many, and wanara is main a monkey. The results of the analysis of concepts and attraction the development of the art of Mantra from Jakarta. The attractiveness of Mantra is the integration of great loyal values with popular values. This can be seen from the dynamic and orderly way of performing dance, drums, subtle dialogue, expressions, and full of literary value, but still controlled by and containing an urakan element displayed during senggakan in the form of spontaneous bursts of words to interrupt the song. Sorry, literary value controlled and urakan element displayed during senggakan in the form of spontaneous bursts to interrupt the song dialogue. The Kaplok-Kalok element in the Langkawanara show is presented with spontaneous applause at certain times, especially during scenes that are relaxed, cheerful, and joyful. Mandrawanara's populist spirit shown in such a thick manner that sometimes appears impudent and harsh.
You have 2 minutes left, Pak Novan.
All right. And then the concept and attraction of Mandrawanara. The attractiveness of Mandrawanara is the integration of great loyal values, popular values. This can be seen from the dynamic way performing dance dramas, subtle dialogue, expression, and full literary value, but still control and containing an urakan element displayed during senggakan the form spontaneous bursts of words to interrupt the song dialogue. The development of Mandrawanara according to Pabrawati, the peak of Mandrawanara dance was in the 20th century. However, since the 1980s and 1930s, Mandrawanara's development began to experience stagnation factors that cause the ups and downs of this art are the problem of very difficult one, problem of very difficult economic conditions. The second factor is that the since the establishment of the Yogyakarta Sultanate from 1755 to 1933, 32, the epic Ramayana did not have the opportunity to be explored and made into the performing arch of the Yogyakarta Palace. And conclusion, Langaman Rawanara has a basic concept called Joget Mataram philosophy. And then Langaman Rawanara's performance declined due to the influence of the Dutch colonial economic situation. And the third, currently Langaman Rawanara shows tend to be concise and performed in much shorter time and involve fewer players. And that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Novan, for your presentations. Now I would like to welcome to the participant. If you have a question for Pak Novansyah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I think there's no questions from and comments from the participant, Pak Novan. And again, I would like to thank you for your presentation. I wish you the very best for your research. Thank you. And the next presenter is Ibu Ratna Dwi Astuti. Okay, so Ratna Dwi Astuti is in the cultural and environmental session, and her paper's title is Woman Oppression as a Result of Male Domination, as represented in a Senoist novel of the Secret Wishlist. You have 10 minutes for your presentation. The 10 minutes is yours, Ratna.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Herianto as the moderator. And today I would like to present my presentation. The title of my article is Woman Oppression as a Result of Male-Dominated Culture as represented in Senoy's novel, The Secret Wishlist. And I only have 15 minutes, so without further ado, I would like to move into introduction. Patriarchy has been one of the major causes of women's oppression and exploitation. Male power is exerted directly or indirectly in domestic and social life to constrain the female. The social role assigned to women is that of serving the image of men. Women are required to shoulder all the domestic responsibilities, and they are kept busy with cleaning, cooking, washing, and childbearing roles. They are given just the status of sex partners. She continued to face injustice, humiliation, torture, harassment, suppression, oppression, subjugation, and exploitation in the name of gender distinction and patriarchy. And The Secret Wishlist is a novel written by P.T. Snoy, 2012. The story is about a woman who is oppressed by her husband. This novel shows how an Indian woman lives under a man's control in a patriarchal society. The end of the story tells the woman could be rebel to show that she could have power, voice, and the right to live their life as well as the man. The purpose of the rebellion is foretelling that they were exist. And then those things are connected with what is described by Beauvais. The women are described as nature, which is characterized by passive, statistical, permissive, and domestic things. It is as if women deserve and naturally accept all the treatment of violence against themselves by men. It makes women feel oppressed and constrained by male-dominated culture. Simone de Beauvoir, in her books entitled Feminist Talk, explained from the ontological existential side of the oppression against women caused by her otherness. For a long time, women have been considered as the other by men and the system that support them. Women are positioned as objects that are considered unable to determine the meaning of their existence. Therefore, according to Beauvoir, if women wants to be subject of themselves, women should make themselves what they want. Thus, Beauvoir tries to put women in their real position as a woman who has a will as evidence of her existence. It is no longer the other whose existence is only seen as an object of oppression, as the enemy of our man, and culture are inseparable, together make up life. And then this is the method I use. Let's move on into the resultant discussion. The first thing I would like to explain is about how to describe women oppression as reflected in the Secret Wishlist. Diksha in here is the name of the main character. She is a woman, strong woman. Diksha has been facing oppression from her husband. The oppression could be seen from the way Diksha is being forced to be such a dutiful wife, as in the passage below. I feel trapped with Sandeep. Phoebe's word hammers into my brain, but I still do not want her to see my pain. After all, she is leading the life she wants. She has a job she enjoys, had a good health at home, is independent and smart, everything I am not. So I turn away and busy myself doing the dishes. I'm not entirely happy in my marriage. Those utterances show Diksha is not happy being a dutiful wife. Diksha was a clever and open-minded when she was a teenager. After marriage, everything is changed. Diksha is always at home to take care of the house and raising the kids while her husband become the breadwinners. As the breadwinners, it makes the husband has the power to control his wife. Diksha finds it is difficult to achieve what she wants. It is always the husband's want that comes first. She wants to have a job, hang out with friends and family, being loved and appreciated by her husband. And that is why Diksha feels her existence is only to be her husband's mate, not the only one who he loves. And then I cannot bring myself to talk to him about this. He is not a new metrosexual. Ours is a conventional Indian marriage, and good Indian wives do not do things like that. It is every time they have a discussion, it will end in a fight. Sandeep never gives Diksha appreciation or even give her a chance to talk about what she wants. Communication is all matter in marital life, but Sandeep, as the breadwinner, never wants to have a good discussion. The husband thinks that he is always right, so the conversation is not matter at all. And then the next one is, I'm married to an extremely conventional man and have led a shelter, protected life. I have never had alcohol, never gone on vacation alone, and never worn a bikini. I, on the other hand, have never gone anywhere without the family. I have always dressed conservatively. There is no freedom to choose what she wants to do, what she wants to wear, and where she wants to go. Those things give Diksha difficulty to enjoy her life and achieve her dreams. The existence of Diksha is only to be a good housewife for her husband and a good mother for her son. Diksha sacrifices her happiness to her husband and son. But instead of getting an appreciation by following the rules the husband's met, Diksha experienced abuse by her husband. These two quotation here represent the abuse, like, you stupid girl, what were you thinking? Sex in the moonlight, you fucking slut, etc. And then if he is in the mood for sex, he initiated it. There is no foreplay, no conversation, no sweet talk. He claims it. It is like he's right. He reaches straight for my breast and etc. And then the second result is about the binary opposition. As the main character, Diksha's characterization at the beginning of the story seems so weak. Time by time, she thinks that she needs to stand for herself and to achieve what she wants, to show that her existence is not to be oppressed anymore, but to stand for herself. That is why there is binary opposition, such as weak and strong, voiceless and voiced, ruled and ruling. In the beginning, the novel tells that Diksha is a weak character that is always oppressed, has no voice, and ruled by her husband. But at the end, in the story, time changed. The new Diksha comes. She is being strong, voiced, and ruling her own life. And then the last result is about woman's rejection of male domination to show her existence based on the Beaufort's theory of existentialist feminism. There are 4 points here. First is woman can have dreams and follow what she wants. When I'm done, my list look like this. Take a vacation alone without family but a friend, go snorkeling, get drunk, learn salsa, wear a bikini, have sex with other guy other than husband, just to know what it feels like. And then number 2 is woman can break the rules men's mad. It is about the time I start living my life, doing what I want to do. And then number 3 is woman show her rebellion. I am amazed at how easily I have slipped and committed adultery and gone from being a good housewife into cheating adulterous spouse. I don't even feel guilty. I wonder where my conscience have vanished. And then the last one is women start to make own decision to show her existence. Even Diksha has no job and she is as a housework. she show her braveness to decide to divorce with her husband. And then the conclusion is the woman struggles a lot to let herself from the oppression. The oppression comes from the husband who has control in any aspect of his wife's life, such as to force his wife for being such a dutiful wife, and then could not complain, having a discussion or even talk to her husband about her problems or the difficulty of their marital life, and then ruling how wives were, not let his wife has another life, including cannot dance, cannot hang out with friends, etc. And then abusing his wife verbally, mentally, and physically. Those things are the problems that the woman faced. Time by time, the woman realized that she could stand for herself. Finally, the woman breaks the rules men made to show her existence. She showed that she is strong, voiced, and ruling. The male domination just leads the woman to a freedom gate. The woman doesn't want to be oppressed anymore. She wants to be the subject of herself by standing up for what she wants and what she decides, not being the inferior one or being the other anymore. And this is the reference I use for my research. I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ratna, for presenting your research. And you just got the exact time, 10 minutes, Ratna, which is good.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions from the other participant for Ratna, Dwi Astuti? Okay, again, thank you, Ratna Dwi Astuti, for sharing your research. I wish you very the best for your research. Thank you. Now we go to the other presenter. Is Arista? Is it double name Arista? Is Arista Nur?
Yes, right. Arista Nuriski.
Yeah, it's Arista Nuriski.
Yes, it's
and
me.
Okay, and Arista Pepper. Okay, Arista, you have 10 minutes to present
Okay.
your research.
Miss Ratna, please the share screen to stop so I can do the share screen right now. Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry. The screen is good or is safe or not? Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue now, Arista.
Okay. Thank you for your attention and for the change. So this is my project. The title is Interpretation of Natural Deconstruction Through Pandemic COVID-19 Situation Based on the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero. And this is the table of contents. In the first, I will show the background. This part will present the introduction, also the scope of the research. And the second, the discussion and results. This part will show about the reflection and deconstruction results through the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero, painting with pandemic COVID-19 situation. And the last, just the conclusion, contains the highlight of this research. So the next slide. I will show you this research originates from a manuscript text entitled Baba Diponegoro. This text is classified as popular art literary because it tells the story of Prince Diponegoro as a legendary hero from Java. The Baba Diponegoro text is written in pagan Arabic scripts. Interestingly, the manuscript of Baba Diponegoro is named Memory of the World by UNESCO. We can see in the text, the book detail, the title is Baba Diponegoro, manuscript bersejarah, Memory of the World UNESCO. The author is Bendoro Pangeran Haryo Diponegoro, the editor Gunawan Apriantona Nayeri Isdora, and etc. total page, and the source from the Indonesian National Library. So the next, the typography of the 40th chapter Sinom Song of Bapa Diponegoro. We can see the Bapa Diponegoro text is a historical narrative unit that has a Javanese bone pottery form. The essence of bone pottery attached to the Bapa Diponegoro, we can see the rules like and vocal rules like Guru Lagu, line rules Guru Gatra, and syllable rules or Guru Wilangan. The form of this text is a bone pottery because it follows the metronome rules of the Sinom song. The metronome rules in the Sinom song are tied to the concept of song rules, line rules, and syllable rules in Japanese song. The song rules is the final rule for the vowel sound at the end of syllable of each line. The line rules is the rule from the number of lines in each stanza, while the syllable rules is the rule of counting the syllable on each line. The metronome rule in the Sinom song is like this: HA, HE, HA, HE 7E, HU 7A, HE, and 12A. The next, the meaning analysis from the 14th chapter Sinom song of Bapa Diponegoro. The text in the left are Javanese version. We can see the Kang Buyutan Kenging Pisah has meaning the great grandmother didn't want to be spirited. Sinambi Winalang Iki has meaning while continuing to teach him. Langkung Kerta Tegal Rejo has meaning peaceful Tegal Rejo people. Mapan Kabeh Tiang Prapti has meaning prosperous society. Samyo Angung Si Tedi has meaning working hard for life. Ingkang santri ngungsing ilmu, the student gain knowledge, langkung rame ibadah, all diligently worship, punapodene wong tani, the majority of them life farming, henengana kawarnaga in Ngayogya, a peaceful life in Yogyakarta. So, the next, the reflection result through the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero, painting by Isur Surasa. This is the illustration. The reflection of Bapa Diponegoro text in the 14th chapter Sinom song founded in the form of a painting entitled The Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero. This visualization interpreting the story of Prince Diponegoro's teenager through Isur Surasa creativity. The painting is divided into three parts closely related to the COVID-19 pandemic situation that's currently hitting the world. The concept of deconstruction towards the situation of the Tegal community reflected in this painting. The innovation of this research in the process of interpreting painting in a pandemic situation. The painting, which features in the three parts, is able to represent the living condition of people in normal life or before the pandemic hit and the normal era, new normal era, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world. This research aimed to describe the concept of visual deconstruction with the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So, the next, the deconstruction of COVID-19 pandemic situation based on the Garden of Earthly Prosperity Zero in the middle part. We can see the painting described the visualization of Pangeran Diponegoro when he was raised by his great-grandmother in Tegalrejo village. The rural atmosphere, which is still beautiful and simple, the people were active in working, majority as farmer, the preference of the community in worship, and the students who are diligent in studying knowledge are the main reflection of the atmosphere of life in Tegalrejo village. If you look closely in the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero painting, specifically in the middle part, describe the situation of the Tegalrejo people with all their social institutions. The middle part of painting shows Prince Diponegoro is studying with his grandmother, seen as his teacher. This condition represents this meaning of young people in Tegalrejo village who are active in studying like a santri. There is also the religiosity of the Tegalrejo community, which is depicted by a small mosque and a group of worshippers. This shows the spirituality of the Tegalrejo people, which is described as being diligent in worshiping. Meanwhile, the deconstruction of meaning farmer, who are seen as herding buffalo, describe the normal working activities before COVID-19 pandemic strikes. As we know, the pandemic has sacrificed the habit of working in the community, working directly in the office. The pandemic has led to a new culture work activities, namely working from home. Apart from these two activities, school and work, worship activities are also ensnared by pandemic. The deconstruction of a group worshiper and the mosque icon in the middle painting have suggested a normal state of worship before the pandemic. People can worship quietly in their respective places of worship such as mosques, church, or other place of worship in congregation. The COVID-19 pandemic had forced worshippers to pray in their homes to prevent crowds of people. In a sense, the deconstruction of the meaning from the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero painting. So the next, the deconstruction of the COVID-19 pandemic situation based on the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero in the side part. Description meaning in here have three values. We can see that Pangeran Diponegoro just stand alone with the abundant water in the background, and also the Nyai Ageng Tegalrejo has a porous pond in the background. A deconstruction of the new normal situation in this painting is shown on the right and the left of the painting. The figure of Pangeran Diponegoro and Nyai Ageng Tegalrejo are described separately left and right is a deconstruction concept of social distancing after the COVID-19 pandemic strikes. As we know, the transmission of the coronavirus is considered very fast in the crowds. Therefore, the concept of social distancing has become a new culture that must be applied by the community in order to avoid this dangerous virus. If you look at the painting on the left part, there is an icon in the form of a lake on the background of a young Prince Diponegoro's figure. The result of the deconstruction are also found in the symbol of lake with abundant water. Water is a sign of the importance of maintaining clean lines during pandemic. Water is a means for people to clean themselves to avoid various types of bacteria, including exposure to the coronavirus. The role of water during pandemic has become very vital with the campaign to wash hands with soap to prevent COVID-19. Meanwhile, on the right side of the painting has a porous bond icon depicted on the background of Nyai Ageng Tegalrejo. This icon represents the existence of Nyai Ageng Tegalrejo, who is described as elderly woman. Broken bones mean the fragility of the community's condition regarding the COVID-19 pandemic situation. The deconstruction meaning of the porous bond in the right part painting implies that the danger of the coronavirus is threat to every human being, especially for the elderly who have a relatively weak immune system. A weak immune system
Arista,
is
you
making
have 2 minutes left. You
Okay.
have 2 minutes left.
Okay. A weak immune system is making humans easily infected by this deadly virus. In addition, porous bond can also be interpreted as closeness of humans to the line of death. The COVID-19 pandemic has implicated millions of people around the world as victims, even millions of souls around the world and in death. And finally, the conclusion, we can see the process of the construction from the Baba Diponegoro text to the Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero in painting. So it reflects the normal situation in pandemic COVID-19 and the new normal situation pandemic COVID-19. The Garden of Earthly Prosperity in Ground Zero painting by Isir Surasa is a form of transfer from the Baba Diponegoro text. This painting apparently able to reconstruct the COVID-19 pandemic situation. The painting, which is divided into three main parts, reflects the condition of normal people in life and the condition of new normal life in society. So this is my presentation, and thank you for your attention. to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arista. Now I would like to welcome participants who would like to ask questions to Arista. Okay, thank you, Arista, for
Okay,
sharing
you're
your
welcome.
presentations.
Okay.
Next, we should have Elizabeth Ihanbini. So, Bu Elis, unfortunately, Bu Elis is unable to attend our session today, and Bu Elis has sent her recording about her presentation. So, I would like to ask your permission to share the video to show about Ibu Elis' video. And I would like to apologize if the audio from my computer is not clear enough to you.
Salam sejahtera bagi kita semuanya. Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. An honor to meet you in this beautiful day. Thank you for your coming to this presentation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Ikaisia Premiani. I'm a lecturer at Japanese Language and Culture Department at Diponegoro University. In a moment, I will share my PowerPoint screen. Today, I'd like to present about the result of my research entitled Onomatopoeic Translation in Environmentally Oriented Literary Work, Nametoko no Kuma and Otsuberu Tozo by Miyazawa Kenji. My presentation is divided into 4 parts. There are introduction, methods, result and discussion, and conclusion. I'll start with introduction. Translation does not only translate information or storylines, but also the social and cultural context that underlies the story. The difference in social cultural background and language systems between languages often becomes an obstacle in translation. The background of my research: onomatope is the meaning of a thing or action by a vocal imitation of the sound associated with it. In Japanese, onomatope is widely used in everyday life to make the conversation feel more alive. Japanese onomatope is often found in children's stories to express more clearly various meanings, imagination, and description of something. However, in Indonesian, the use of onomatope is not as intense as in Japanese. Therefore, the search for Japanese onomatope equivalent into Indonesian is not easy. This study aims to describe the translational procedure used in the short stories Nametoko no Kuma and Otsuberu Tozo to achieve equivalence of the message in the Japanese onomatopoeic translation into Indonesian. Then I will explain about research methods. The methods used in this research are SIMAC method in data providing step, padan translational at the data analysis stage, and informal method to present the result of this research. Okay, let's now turn to result and discussion. To determine the procedure for translating Japanese onomatopoeia into Indonesian, 86 data were examined using Dumark and Pune and Development theory. According to the data, there were 10 translational procedures used in short stories. The following is example of data analysis to find the translation procedure used by translator to achieve dynamic equivalence in onomatopoeic translation. First, reduction and expansion. There were 30 data using reduction and expansion procedure. Reduction procedure is a reduction in a translation. For example, please take a look at the slide. Warawa dongdong, usiro no koe, kagerarete, mata tarashi yamanina. In Indonesian, jeraminya terlempar ke belakang menunjuk dengan baru. The word dongdong is an onomatopoeia that describes the activity of throwing that occurs one by one in quick and long sequence. However, the circumstances which describe the onomatopoeic meaning of dongdong are omitted in the translation. Next is the data analysis of expansion procedure usage. There were found data using expansion procedure. Expansion is an addition between a translation. For example, please take a look at the slide. Di sana tina doa eko kiki ya buya tani kamu meja da. Dua. In Indonesia, semuanya mengamuk sehingga tuan-tuan kecil dan lainnya hancur musnah dan semak-semak pun hancur berantakan. Ger. Meja-meja is an onomatopoeia that describes a state of perturbation or chaos. However, in the translation of this data, there is an addition of the word hancur berantakan or destroyed and the basis fell apart. So the translation procedure used in this data is expansion. Next, equivalence. There were 24 data found using equivalence procedure. Equivalence procedure is the procedure of translating precisely and equally in the communicative situation of the source text. For example, please take a look at the slide. Ojurawa pitari ochitsute, kyotate niste, achinagara, kumanotsuki no wa o megakete, itonto yaru no datta. In Indonesia, Ojuro segera berlindung di balik pohon dengan tenang, membidikan senapannya tepat ke arah tenggorokan beruang itu dan jong, senapan itu meletus. Jitong is an onomatopoeia that states the sound combination of three words. In this data, jitong is translated as door or bell, which is in Indonesia is an imitation sound of gun popping. Therefore, in this data, the procedure used in the equivalent procedure, because it is appropriate and equivalent in the communicative situation of the source text. Text is synonymy and adaptation. There were 12 data found using synonymy, and there were 6 data found using adaptation procedure. And as an example, we will discuss adaptation procedure used in target language. Adaptation is a procedure that adapts the situation in the procedure text so that it can be described in an equivalent incident in the target language. For example, please take a look at the slide. Soste mukasiwa sama wa kumaga gocha-gocha kasoja. In Indonesian, zaman dulu katanya di sekitar sini banyak beruang berburu. This data tells of situation when bears congregate at Ojora waterfall. The word gocha-gocha express an irregular, chaotic, mixed state. To express the situation described by the word gocha-gocha, which describes the mixed condition of the bears at Ojora waterfall in the source text, the translator uses an adaptation procedure by translating it into the word banyak, lots of in the target language. Next, transposition of lab and componential analysis. There were three data for each found using transposition of lab and componential analysis procedure. And as an example, we will discuss transposition procedure used in target language. Transposition is a translation procedure that involves changing the grammatical form from the search language to the target language without changing the meaning of the message. For example, please take a look at the slide. Ojorowa Yapsari, Bongyari Tarika. In Indonesian, Ojuro berdiri dan menang saja. Bongyari is an onomatopoeia which describes the condition of someone who is absent-mindedly or blankly. In the data above, the word bongyari is translated as bengong saja or just blank. The syntactic category of the word bongyari, which is an adverb in the source text, is translated as bengong saja or just blank, which occupies the class of verb plus adverb in target text. Next, paraphrase and modulation. There were two data for each found using paraphrase and modulation procedure. And as an example, we will discuss the use of paraphrase procedure in the data. Paraphrase is a translation procedure that develops and explains the meaning contained in the word in the source language. For example, please take a look at the slide. Kinoa o ikio, ha ha si, akai stao desinagara, asitewa tomari ste. In Indonesian, anjing kojuro kelelahan seperti kehilangan napas. Sambil menjulurkan lidahnya yang merah, dia berlari lalu berhenti. Onomatope haha comes from the imitation of the sound when breathing is depend upon mouth. The Indonesian equivalent is breathing out of breath. In order to convey the meaning contained in this onomatope haha, the translator chooses to paraphrase the meaning contained in it to be kelelahan seperti kehilangan nafas or exhausted like losing some breath. And the last procedure is borrowing. There were one data using borrowing procedure. Borrowing is a translation procedure by borrowing words or concepts from source language to overcome the gaps that usually occur in a metalinguistic. For example, please take a look at the slide. Inerkoki kaino romudaino switch kete nong nong to osoro sinai foto atete yate. In Indonesia, dia bekerja dengan mesin penggiling padi. Nong. Sekitar monoton suara mesin. Nong is onomatopoeia of the sound of a rice mill. The word nong is translated in Indonesian as nong. The onomatopoeia concept which comes from the imitation sound of the rice grinding machine used in the Meiji era, according to the time setting of the story does not exist in the target language. Therefore, the translator chooses to borrow the concept in be used as an equivalent word in the target language. The result of this study can be concluded that dynamic equivalence in the short story Nameto Kunokuma and at Otsuberu Tozo is achieved through 10 translation procedures, namely reduction and extraction, equivalence, synonymy, adaptation, transposition, couplet, componential analysis, modulation, paraphrase, and borrowing, where the most widely used in the road trade is the reduction and expansion procedure, and the least is the borrowing procedure. Reduction procedure are the most used procedure because the use of onomatopoeia in Indonesian is not as intense as in Japanese. So without using any onomatopoeia, the message of the story remains the same in target text. That's all for me. Thank you so much for your time and attention. See you next time.
Okay, well, that's from Ibu Elizabeth. Now, unfortunately, we cannot have a question and answer because it's already 15 minutes. But Ibu Alice also is not present at this moment. So thank you for sharing the video, Ibu Alice. Now, we will have Ibu Titi Darmi, but I just informed by the committee that Ibu Titi Darmi also cannot be present at this time, so she also sent a video, but I think it will be good if we just mix it, not just video continuously, but with the real presenter, I think. So we will have Anjani Agus Setia Ningrum.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Assistant Ningrum, you will have 10 minutes to present your research. The time is yours.
Good. I'm sorry, it's already see or not?
Yes, it's clear now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we can see it, Anjani.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, first of all, I want to say thank you for the change. So today, I want to do my presentation. The title is Hanging Out Phenomena at Coffee Shop as an environmental-based economic tools in COVID-19 pandemic era. There are 4 table of content. The first one is introduction, second one is method, the third is discussion, and the last is conclusion. Okay, we jump to the introduction. The phenomenon of hanging out at coffee shop is no longer seen as just a professional need, such as meeting clients and so on. This phenomenon has formed a new popular culture among the people. The culture of hanging out in coffee shop is linear with the presence of coffee shop in Indonesia. It can be seen through independent research data conducted by Tovin Dahwini 2019, which state that the number of coffee shop in Indonesia as of August 2019 has reached more than 2,050 outlets, an increase of almost 3 times compared to 2016, which was only 1,000 outlets. Coffee shop has a popular culture, has success in forming a new lifestyle pattern for the community, especially the modern lifestyle, modern society, which is mostly highly mobile. makes coffee shop an alternative place for productive activities beside office, campus, and so on. Okay, the more need of human life, it's the more demanding also an increase in lifestyle. Hanging out at coffee shop has become a lifestyle nowadays. Lifestyles is related to how a person spend his time for what is important with consolidation of his interests and environment, and what people think about themselves and the environment. Okay, next. The method that I use in this research is qualitative method using data collection from observation and literature studies, which is intended to describe the existing phenomena. Data were obtained from literature studies on culture, environment, pandemic, lifestyle, and coffee shop. Literature studies are sourced from books, scientific works, etc. Okay, next, we jump to discussion. As explained in the introduction, the culture of hanging out in coffee shop has become a way of life for modern society, especially in a big city. In the section, there are two important points in the discussion. The first one, the cultural phenomenon of hanging out in a coffee shop. The second one is coffee shop as environmental-based economic tools during pandemic COVID-19 era. Okay, the first topic is the cultural phenomenon of hanging out in a coffee shop. Hanging out culture in a culture that has exists science times and its existence in frequent times underestimated by most people. The culture of hanging out grown on the factor of Indonesian society who likes to socialize with one others. Although it is often underestimated, but actually this culture of hanging out can increase creativity in this thinking and working. This can be seen from the behavior people who choose cafe as a place to find inspiration, whether in working on project, discussing with clients, or doing class assignment. This culture of hanging out in coffee shop has become a lifestyle that cannot be spared for teenagers and adults. The phenomenon of hanging out in coffee shop is also due to the role of globalization, which has caused Western lifestyle to enter into Indonesian culture. This can be seen from the number of cafes that name their menu in English, but it still can increase Indonesian economy. Okay, the second topic, coffee shop as an environmental-based economic tools during pandemic COVID-19 era. During the COVID-19 pandemic, which imposed restriction on activities outside the home, several coffee shops were slugging due to decision taken by government. However, in the second quarter, the policy taken by the government regarding the new normal era gave a breath for relief to coffee shop manager. Coffee shop owners are allowed to reoperate the cafe on condition that they implement health protocols. Despite the pandemic, the coffee shop business is still to survive compared to the hotel business or clothing retail. This statement is supported by research data conducted by Bojonegoro 2020, explaining that it's the third quarter of 2020, it was stated that due to COVID pandemic, the commodity price for Robusta coffee and Arabica coffee weakened to 2.8 USD and 1.5 USD per kilogram. Based on the data present above, it can be seen that the coffee shop business has experienced a decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But his decline is not too significant compared to other business besides coffee shop. The culture of hanging out in coffee shop is able to survive during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even the phenomenon of hanging out and in coffee shop has a positive impact on the wheels of the economic in Indonesia. Okay, we jump to the conclusion. There are two conclusions. The first one is the phenomenon of hanging out in coffee shop has become a new culture in modern society, especially in big cities. People in urban areas feel that hanging out in coffee shop has become a lifestyle for young people today. By hanging out at coffee shop, visitors feel that they have a comfortable place for them to make their creativity in the form of idea and works. Not infrequently, the coffee shop is also used a professional place, such a meeting with clients, distant learning activities, and so on. Okay, the second one, the culture of hanging out in coffee shop is also able to survive in this COVID-19 pandemic, that it can be seen based on data obtained by Bojonegoro 2020. Starting that in the third quarter of 2020, it was stated that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the commodity price to Robusta and Arabica coffee weakened to 2.8 USD and 1.5 USD per kilogram. The decline that occurred in the agricultural sector was not too sharp compared to the other sector. It can be concluded that the phenomenon of hanging out in coffee shop can be used on environmental-based economic tools during COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, last but not least, this is the reference that I use for my paper. So that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjani. The phenomenon of people hanging out in a coffee shop is become a new trend, maybe in big city, but maybe in some places it's already been, or maybe it already happens for some years. Yeah. So is there any questions for Anjani?
Mr. Harry, I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Budi, please.
Yes, thank you so much. It is very interesting. What you presented it in this slide is very interesting. But I know one thing in this discussion. You said that the activities of hang out at the coffee shop can help, can increase Indonesian economic. But would you like to tell to us how far activities of hanging out at the coffee shop can be increase Indonesian economy? Thank you so much.
Okay. I will answer the question. It can be seen in my PPT, in my presentation before. The culture of hanging out, it's already happened in the last. It's one of our tradition. So, you know, like young people or now it's like or it's like office worker. They do like a meeting in the coffee shop. So I think it can be increase the economic of Indonesian. So people already, you know, like going to the coffee shop, and it's already like a trend to go to the coffee shop. Because people think that when they go to the coffee shop right now, they can be more, you know, cool or edgy, etc. Like that. Thank you.
Okay, significant help for Indonesian economy. Okay, thank you so much for your answer.
Yeah, my
Thank
pleasure.
you, Pak Budi, and thank you, Anjani, for the explanations. Okay, and then next we will have Ibu Titi Darmi, but again, Ibu Titi is not able to present. So the computer sent me a video, but okay, let me check the video. I ask you to give me permissions to play the video. Okay, the videos cannot be played, and I will ask another file for the video. So next, while we are waiting for a new video from the presenter, I would like to welcome Ibu Muti Haryati. Ibu Muti Haryati is an academic librarian. She's an academic librarian from State University of Surabaya. So Ibu Muti Haryati, you have 10 minutes to present your study.
Thank you, Mr. Heri. Okay, good afternoon. The pandemic of COVID-19 has forced many university students around the world to adapt to the new ways of studying. Despite the rising use of technology for information searching, this raises challenge not only for lecturers and students, but also for us academic librarians. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Muti Haryati, an academic librarian from State University of Surabaya. It's our commitment to contribute to the success of student learning, aim the obstacle due to the social distancing. We are here today to present our research entitled Identification of Information Short Use Pattern in the Students' Distance Learning Process at the Surabaya State University, Indonesia. Let me introduce again myself, Muti Haryati. I'm academic librarian, Surabaya State University. My subject touch research method for library and information science, and the second, information literacy. Please meet the team. Dodi Purwanto, he is sub-coordinator at LPPM, and Rina Junirianti, she is an academic librarian at Surabaya State University. Let's talk background of the study. Pandemic situation forcing most of students to adapt to the new ways of studying. Students face many challenges due to the technological disruption in the economy and knowledge transfer. The investigation of students' information shortage can be the first experience for some students that include UNESA students. It is possible that students have different experiences on using information sources during the pandemic. Research question: how students use information sources during the pandemic? Research aim to investigate UNESA students' experience of using information sources provided by faculties, universities, or other online resources. How this research was conducted? Qualitative research. This research looking at the phenomenon from a specific context by a specific group of people. Qualitative approach is effective for study that aims to explore and understand the meaning of an individual or group ascribed to a special context. Obtaining information about values, opinions, and behavior of particular population. Who is the participant? The participant is comprised of students in their 4th until 8th degree semesters. The participants will be interviewed using purposive sampling technique. With these interviews, to develop a greater understanding of student experiences, use information source. Significance of the study. First, it is hoped the finding will create new knowledge in the field of information literacy for researchers to use and build upon. Second, the research will also support Indonesian universities, specifically UNESA, by providing an evidence base that students use information sources based on their needs. Third, the study provides insight into the various ways students experience of using information sources provided by faculties, universities, or other online sources. Current stage of the study, 12 students across UNESA faculties have been interviewed. All the interviews have been transcribed and coded. The coded data provides some preliminary findings for the study. Now we into preliminary findings. Some findings have emerged. Most participants commented that they have internet connection issue, that the pattern of using information sources among students still needs to be improved. Some students commented that still use lecturer as the main source of information. Next, students choose the ease of accessing information sources such as on Google and Google Scholar. It can be understood as they are known as digital native. They need for equitable dissemination of information sources and improve literacy programs. The programs are provided by libraries through digital collections that are more complete and easier to access. Students utilize information sources as needed and become more enthusiastic about online learning. Acknowledgement. I would like to thank to all informants and the LPPM of UNESA for providing support to the research. If you need more information, do not hesitate to contact me in my number or my email. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful to be given a chance to share our knowledge. I'm sure we will have fruitful and rewarding exchange. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Committee of ICENIS 2021 to provide us the opportunity to present our paper. Conferences such as this provide a valuable opportunity for researchers and academicians to share experiences and valuable thoughts. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harry.
Thank you, Ibu Muti. So you say that people can contact you. Can I contact you as well, Bu Muti?
It's okay, Mr. Harry.
Okay, yes, you're so kind, asking everybody to contact you and give your numbers here. Okay, Bapak Ibu, it's such an interesting research. It's about university student experience on using information resources, especially electronic information resources. If you have a questions, please ask Ibu Muti. So the study is conducted in State University of, Surabaya State University, right, Ibu
Yes.
Muti?
Yes.
Do you think that the characteristic of students who are looking for information in UNESA can be the same with the other university in other places in Indonesia? based on your experience?
Based on my experience, or study found that they rely on popular search engine like Google. Hence, they only found limited academic information to use for their study.
Okay, yeah. So,
and this is very important because many of our students are not able to use academic resources for their studies.
yes, I agree with you. Even is university student, they still have some issue on how to access and how to use information, especially if the information they retrieve it from Google or Google Scholar. Yeah, it's interesting that when you say that less student using academic databases from that subscribed by the university. Okay, I believe that the result of your study will be useful for us, for the Indonesian universities. Thank you for sharing your research, Ibu Muti Haryati.
Thank you, Mr. Harry.
So we still have last presenter. I have asked the committee. Okay, yeah. So I will ask your permissions to play a video. It's from one of our speaker. Is the last speaker is a TT.
Before I jump to the
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That's the last presenter, and unfortunately, we cannot ask questions to her. Actually, for me, there's also interesting topic to be discussed from student of Master of Literature from Universitas Bengkulu. So, Bapak Ibu, that's the end of the session for today, and we have learned so many things from all the presenters. From the Japanese and then from the English literature, from the translations, and then from the experience of student finding and using informations. And yeah, from many things. And I believe that we have learned so many things and we got some insights from all the speakers, from all the presenters who have kindly sharing and presenting their ideas and what they have found from their research. And I also would like to say best of luck for your study, for you who are still doing your master degree or your bachelor degree, and for you other researchers, the lecturers, the librarian who are still conducting your study, your research. Okay, I wish you the best to finish your study and your research. Thank you. That's all from me, the moderator for the second session of the International Conference on Environment, Epidemiology and Information System. Now, I will close the second session. And thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Mr. Hedi.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ses-
Thank you, Mr. Herianto.
Untuk
You're
section,
welcome. Ya, sesi terakhir Bapak Ibu, mohon maaf.
untuk
Sesi yang paling penting yaitu foto bersama.
Oh iya.
Can you please turn on your camera? Ada Pak Sur, Novan, nah Anjani, Pak Danang, malu-malu Pak Danang ini. Nah, ada Pak Sur, wah, luar biasa ini. Makanya tadi saya agak nervous, ada apa gitu, ternyata ada Pak Senior. Oke, saya hitungan ketiga. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Pas foto gini, meskipun virtual, senyum tidak apa-apa, Bapak Ibu.
Oke.
Oke.
Sip. Thank you. And have
You're
a good day.
welcome, Pak
You're
Heri.
welcome.
You're welcome. See you.
Sukses
See you.
semuanya.
Sukses selalu.
Salam sehat
Thank you
selalu.
all. Terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih.
Sukses Pak Heri,
Terima kasih Pak Sur.
Pak Danang, Pak Slamet, pamit
Terima kasih
nggih.
ya. Hati-hati. Oke, Pak Sur, monggo.